Oi, gente. Espero que você tenha um ótimo dia e feliz domingo. Hope you guys are doing well and happy Sunday. Sunday. I wanted to kind of chime in and give my brief two or 2 cents about the whole P. Diddy situation. I'm a bit apprehensive to talk about it because of what I'm going to say. And so I'm expecting some interesting comments. Okay, so first of all, you can't unsee what you saw. And I think that whoever put that out, because I don't think the source other than CNN that leaked it, has said much about where they got it from. I guess one can only assume it came from one of those FBI raids, and then it got into the hands of someone, and then they put it out. Case of right? And I also saw just a few minutes ago where he broke his silence on the video, and he issued a mea culpa, public apology, and he said, typical things. He was at a dark place. He condemns his actions as reprehensible. He was in a very, very just bad situation, and his actions were just totally bad and are not really indicative of who he is as a person. That being said, I thought about some things, and I thought about, because he said, I'm not asking you guys for forgiveness, He went on to say that he, asked God for forgiveness, which, I guess if somebody does something bad and they believe they have their personal faith, whether they're consistent or not, asking for forgiveness is always a good thing. In any event, I guess my points are this. Seeing what we saw, again, you can't unsee that. So in my mind, I thought, well, how can a person justify something like that? And he wasn't trying to, I guess. But I know a lot of people are condemning him. A lot of people are, basically just saying, you're getting what you're deserving of, and all of the chickens have come home to roost. Typical judgment talk, talking points. And I thought, isn't it interesting how when we as individuals make mistakes, and call it what you want, it was a mistake, and I'm not saying a mistake in a sense of he didn't know what he was doing. I'm saying a mistake in a sense of hindsight. Because again, you have to remember this was 2016 that this occurred. And you know how it is. I don't know if you've ever made a mistake, a real egregious mistake, like you really lost it and you went in and you stayed there and you ate lunch there and you took a nap there and woke up and left the next day. Like you really did something very, very stupid. And years later, you were confronted with that action, or you saw yourself committing that act, and you said, man, I was so stupid. Why did I allow myself to stoop to that level? More importantly, why did it take me so long to say something about it? Now, granted, he may have had a conversation with her or whatever, but I guess one could only assume, and it's not good to do that out of sight is out of mind. I left it there, or he left it there, and as long as it didn't resurface or come up again, everybody would be none the wiser. And then more importantly, he could kind of have that out of his memory. But how in the age of I guess social media and the digital age, everything is recorded, text messages, et cetera, et cetera. So having it come out now and him saying what he said about, he being in a dark place, and he's not asking people to forgive him. He's asked God to forgive him, and he's striving to be a better man and all of that. I think a lot of people are still going to say, you know what, you're a scumbag. You have questionable business practices. Everybody that has ever been associated with you long term seemingly has fallen victim to some sort of curse. So as a human being, you're kind of reprehensible. You're not a good guy. And they're going to judge him based on that. I am one of the people who is not a fan of his business model, looks at the people who were connected with him and monitored their end. And it just seemed like unless they left, nothing good ever came out of people that was connected with that guy. However, I think we have to be very careful when we allow ourselves to be into that group of judgment, because again, if you've ever done something that you knew that was just horribly wrong, even if nobody knew about it. Especially if somebody, let's just say they found out about it. You want people to give you the benefit of the doubt. Now, you might say you don't, but you kind of want people to give you the benefit of the doubt. But when other people do stuff, it's like, no, you knew what you were doing. We're not giving you the benefit of the doubt. You knew exactly what you were doing, and I think you should be judged in kind. And again, this is no ploy, or this is no video to make light of the situation, or to say that everybody should come to this guy's rescue. The problem with actions like that is the consequences usually speak for themselves. I heard somebody say a long time ago that we all have the power of choice. And in that power of choice, we can choose the action, but we don't determine the consequences. So, that law of relativity, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. This is the opposite reaction. This is the consequences basically speaking for themselves. And I think this is kind of the tip of the iceberg for this guy. And so if this came out, who knows what is lying beneath the surface? You ever seen those financial memes about the iceberg? You have some people, their iceberg is real big, signifying that what you can see above the surface, they look like they have it all together, but beneath the surface, it's only that much ice. And then you have others whose iceberg is very small, but beneath the surface, it is like almost to the ground floor of the ocean. And I think this is a situation where it's the latter. It's the small iceberg, and everything else is like far beneath the surface. And at some point in time, it's going to come out. So I don't know. I personally, and again, I'm definitely not probably going to be. I'll probably get negative comments by saying what I'm about to say with this as well. I think that his best move would have probably been to do what Russell Simmons did, and that is, if you're going to fight your case, it may have been better for you to go somewhere where there's not an extradition treaty with the U.S. Fight your case from there, and then try to come back. Because I think you have more leverage that way. Now, that's just me maybe I'm speaking as a black man. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, you're going to be the poster child for all things abuse. And in the court of public opinion, you've lost. So I don't think getting a fair trial, even if you're not being, even if the statute of limitations is passed, which from what I understand it is, with that particular incident, he can't be prosecuted. However, going forward, any allegation, which he has a few out there, about violence, about misandry, all of that stuff, trafficking, anything, they're gonna, in the court, you've lost. There's no way you're gonna get a fair trial. So I understand what they tell people in the jurors, basically, operate on the guidelines which we're giving you and the jury instructions and all of that. But again, you can't unsee that. So I don't know. I think that he's going to have a whole lot to deal with, and I just hope he can keep it together mentally, because imagine one day you're on top of the world, and then the next day you're under the earth. And again, I'm not saying that. Please, if you don't understand me, don't misunderstand me. I am not saying that people should, forgive. I'm not saying that. That's not coming out of my mouth. What I'm saying is, we have to be very careful how we condemn folks, because people are human. And I think for the people that, this guy let down, it should serve to be an example for them that you never turn anybody into a cult of personality, meaning that they can do no wrong, that their image is larger and bigger of a person than who they are. And when that happens, people will usually let you down. And in this situation, everybody would just have to see what happens. It just doesn't look too great for him. And hopefully he can keep it together and maintain his sanity. And of course, if are the allegations that he is indicted, let justice take its course. And, case sera, whatever will be, will be. But in any event, I just, I rambled a little bit. I saw it and I was like, wow, it's like, I had to look at it about 2 or 3 times, and then when I was sure, okay, yeah, that's dude. You know, one could only imagine what the young lady Cassie is experiencing, having to relive that all over again. Which, you know, from what I understand, it was a lot more detailed, and it always is, than the general public is aware of. So I'm sure the details will come out, because, you know, to be able to be in situations and stay with somebody, and this has happened more than once or twice, you know, it's almost like what they call it, that syndrome where you begin to love your abuser. And I don't think it's much, it's some syndrome. I'll think of it after this video, I'm sure. But either way, that's probably what was going on in that situation. That, and the fact that, you know, the perks of being with somebody that's rich and powerful. You know, you're willing to put up with certain things that the normal person wouldn't deal with for the sake of the bag. Not judging her either. It's just, you know, it is what it is. But in any event, again, Feliz Domingo. Espero que você tenha uma ótima dia. Hope you guys have an awesome Sunday today. And I'm going to go to the gym and try to see if I can, you know, push a little iron. And fala com você mais tarde. É verdade.